let's get to 5,000. Yeah. Hold on. What?
Hey, son. That, Ash vs. Evil Dead Necronomicon you threw in the trash. You took it out of the trash, right?
Yeah, why?
I'm just asking because I'm curious, see if you could take a picture of the back of it for me. I wanted to see if it had an ear.
You want to know if it has an ear? All right, fine. All right, fine. Oh, Ninja Turtle. No. Ryan, it's gone.
What's going on?
Ryan, the book is gone.
How can you be sure of that?
Ryan, I've been burgled.
You've been burgled?
They stole my journal.
You have a journal? Did you write about little high school crushes and that thing, son?
Ryan, that's a completely different journal. All I know is the book is gone and a bunch of other different things.
Son, you probably just misplaced your book, man. It happens. Like, I misplace shit all the time. As far as the journal, maybe your little brother took it. Yeah, maybe your little brother took it when he had his friends over, having little icy pops while you were out, on dates with your girlfriends. And, or maybe, you and Jimmy, instead were at the malt shop, sharing a shake with 2 straws. You never know. Stranger things have happened.
What are you doing? I'm trying to figure out what happened to the journal and also the Ash vs. Evil Dead book and the knife. While I'm trying to figure this out, check out Brian Worthington's collection down in New Zealand. Deadpool can break the 3rd wall. I can do the same thing. But check him out. Here he is on Instagram. Enjoy his collection. Oh, and check out at the end of the video for the next video preview coming up while I figure all this out. So, let's get groovy.
Hey there everyone, my name is Brian and I hail from the great land of New Zealand where, if you weren't aware, they filmed Ash vs. Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2013 and Evil Dead Rise over here in Auckland. I'm here to show you my collection of tidbits and props and all sorts of things from Evil Dead and maybe a couple other things too. Before I start, just want to say big thanks to Brett for including me in one of his videos, and big thanks for all of the hard work that you do. If it wasn't for your amazing attention to details and showcasing your chainsaw builds, none of these would exist. So props to you for that, mate. Alright guys, so starting off with the Necronomicons. First up, we have the Anthology box set. Now you'll notice mine's a little faded. Unfortunately, the minute it got out of the box, the areas where it was covered by product information and whatnot decided to react to the oxygen, oxidize themselves and fade. So unfortunately I can't really do anything to fix that except for repaint the whole thing, and I don't want to do that. But it's just your standard Anthology box set, has all of the lovely artwork and of course the DVDs. So neat little set, literally just bought it because I wanted to see the artwork with my own eyes, because I had already started sculpting Necronomicons at that point. Now I don't have my original sculpt that I did, but I do have my second one, which is my Evil Dead 2, oddly enough. This was sculpted by myself out of foam clay and is based off of the lineage mould that everyone was happy to get their hands on, but I could not afford. So I made my own alternative, and I did the pages in there as well using artwork from Elder Props and elsewhere, just getting it looking how I wanted. Did the lost pages as well, went with the animatic style opening shot that we see, and turned out good. Next one I have is the AOD, and then we have the AVET. Now unfortunately neither of these have pages in them at the moment, but I am working on getting that done shortly. So again, sculpted these ones out of foam clay myself. The AOD could be better, I'm not gonna lie, but it was a difficult one for me to try and sort. However, the AVED, oh, that turned out perfectly. I could not be happier with the sculpt on my AVED. That was just absolutely stunning. So there we have the Necronomicons. You can see all that lovely sculpted detail. Everything is textured nicely on that ED2. It's the same thing with the AOD, though not as well in my opinion. And then, oh, the beautiful, beautiful texture of my AVED. Look at the mouth. Next up, we have the Kandarian Dagger. This is just your Trick or Treat Studios replica. Nothing really special to go over with that. That hasn't already been covered. I plan to repaint it at some point, but at the moment I'm happy with it. And don't really want to dive into doing it just yet. But it's a good piece, it's solid, I love it. I just love the gory details of the Kandarian Dagger. Of course, with the anthology box set, there was also this tiny little one. And I kind of wish, instead of this version of it, they just gave us a AVED one instead. It would have been so much better because of the scale. And of course, we have the collection of outfits for cosplaying the man himself, Ash Williams. So we've got the Evil Dead 2 ensemble, which I put together. Quite happy with the nice distressed look. The pants are also weathered nicely. Got the shirt as grimy and awful looking as possible. Even got bloodstains in the cuff. Of course, this is the ripped off version, so it's missing that section, but I do also have a solid full both sleeve version as well. I've done the weathering to match as much as I can, just so I can do either or. That's for the Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness intro. Now I've also got my AVED, which I have thankfully cosplayed this to a convention before, but I haven't done the Evil Dead 2 style. The harness is made from the same hardware that your screen used harnesses are made from. I also believe I may have bought them from the same shop that the show did, as when I made the purchase of these, when I said to the shopkeeper what I was using it for, he understood exactly. So he didn't say that they bought them from there, but he said, I know what you're doing with that now. I did the Kelly belt for this myself as well. We also have a bloodied variant of that shirt as well, with the rip sleeve from the end of season 1 look. I love doing these cosplays, they are gorgeous. I've got the holster of course, and the same with Evil Dead 2, having the nice long boomstick holder. Next up, we've got the boomstick. So this was 3D printed by a good friend of mine, and basically he sent it to me in pieces and I put it together, and it was part of a lockdown project due to COVID. So helped me pass the time, kept me entertained, and I made a good prop out of it. So yeah, it's entirely 3D printed. I've got a couple metal pins in it and a couple wooden dowels keeping everything in place. We do have a openable breech, which I can put shotgun shells if I wanted to, and it magnetizes shut, which is awesome. I love it, it's a great prop. Moving on from that though, we get to the main event, I suppose, which is my lovely chainsaw hands. But first up, we have the flat top. So, this flat top is made out of a Homelight Bandit, which I picked up recently. Originally, that flat top was made using this body and handle. This was just parts of an XL that I got separately off of eBay and put together, but I was lucky enough to find a Bandit body. Now this is the second Bandit body that I've been able to get, so this was recently finished and I love it. It's such a gorgeous saw. I quite like the design of the flat top. I used to think it was a bit weird, but it's grown on me. I made the cuff myself. These fuel and gas tanks, they are resin casts that I moulded. The grill is also a mould and cast by me, the damage put into it after the fact. And as is with all of my chainsaw bars, this is actually MDF with a 3D printed chain. So this is my alternative. I get away with it that way, and it looks great. Moving on from the flat top, we have of course the raised top from Evil Dead 2. Now this is my other Homelight Bandit body, and this was the first Homelight Bandit that I was able to get my hands on. Now when I acquired this, it was just after Brett and Chris Pollock, the amazing Chris Pollock, came out with the news of Bandits being an accurate body that was used. So when I managed to stumble across one on Facebook Marketplace for dirt cheap, I had to pick it up so I could make one. Now unfortunately I finished mine off before we got a lot of the accurate details shown. So it's close enough for me to be happy with, but it hasn't got any of the miscuts or anything like that. I haven't, so if I flip it around, I haven't extended this piece out to warp it like it should be. It's just as it is. But I'm still very happy with this chainsaw. It's painted with the same paints that I use for the flat top, however, because it's older, it has darkened over time. I love this chainsaw. It is one of my absolute favourites, and I couldn't be happier. Next up, the AOD, Army of Darkness. Beautiful saw. This was also a recent build, kind of. When I acquired the second Bandit body, there was half a body for another Homelight that came with it, and that half being this half, which I didn't realise until I actually had it in hand, was an accurate body. So I swapped out the body that I originally had on this saw with that accurate body and redid the entire paint job on it, not just one half. So in doing so, I unfortunately broke my connection into here, because I always, when I'm doing a raised top, put an incision and then have an extra cut of metal go down to then fold around. Unfortunately that snapped on me during the process, so I had to bolt on a replacement piece, which is just fit in with a pop rivet. So a little bit of inaccurate detail there, but I can let that one slide. Of course, it's got the cuff piece, which I designed myself based off of one of Brett's designs, and then taking it a little step further because we don't really see that cuff very well in the film. So a little bit of artistic license there, but it's still good. Of course, we've got the muffler block, Again, we've got one of my grills, same with the raised top, having the damage put in by hand after the fact. And overall, it's a great saw. I love the staining that I got into this handle as well. The wood that I used for this one is different than the other wood, and it popped. It really did. We've got the bar, which has the tip extension grooves cut into it, again made out of MDF. I copied a real bar for that using leather punch tools of all things to get the holes and rings and whatnot. And yeah, turned out good. Next up, we have the AVED. Now, the AVED saw is my personal favourite in my collection. This chainsaw was made out of individual Homelite XL parts that I got off of eBay that all turned up at ridiculously different times. I'm talking like months apart from each other. But when I finally had everything, I put it all together, and it was the funnest build I've ever done. It was not my first chainsaw build, but it was my first proper Homelite XL build. The one that came before this was one that I sold just the other day, which was originally a raised top that was made out of a XL2 metal body, to be precise. So not accurate at all. Over the last couple of years, I have modified that original one to be a flat top, exactly like the one that was here, but using that body. As I said, I have since sold that one off to a friend. But after I made that one, I got all the parts to make this one, and it is special because it also has the grill from Rod McLean, one of the screen used molds of those grills, so I'm happy to have it on there. I also got the little bar guard from him as well. He had that in a box of spares, so both of those very special for me to have on this saw. Another reason why the AVED saw in particular is so special is because I actually knew one of the producers of the TV show, the associate producer, Charles Knight, to be precise. He's someone that my father and I used to mow the lawns for quite a few years ago. So when the show was still in pre-production, he kind of let it slip that it was in development, and that's actually how I got interested in Evil Dead in the first place. Because before then, I hadn't seen the movies. I knew of them, but I was still a teenager, so I hadn't been indoctrinated into the series as of yet. But as soon as the TV series was announced, and I got to see the trailers and whatnot of what was coming, I was hooked, and I had to watch it all, and so I did. So this chainsaw was made as a way for me to say thank you to Charles Knight and everyone else that worked on the amazing show, because you totally kickstarted an amazing interest in me. So Charles, this one's for you. There we have the chainsaws. Oh, before we get to the chainsaws, this is a spare cuff that I've made. I've left this one like this for a reason. I've also got a spare grill and some oil and gas caps. Then chainsaws, we have the flat top, beautiful grill that I've done. That paint job I love so much. And then we have the raised top, again same thing, same paint, it's just aged. As this is an older one, it has gone darker, easier. Next up, the AOD, love this one, absolutely gorgeous, and of course it's darker on top. And then we have the AVED, my personal favourite. Next little piece I have here is my power glove. Now, this is in no way an accurate build. There are a lot of inaccuracies with it, but that's okay. I'm not here for accuracy. What I'm here for is a prop I can wear for cosplay at conventions. So I made this one myself entirely out of things that you could get here in New Zealand. The actual red sections are just PVC pipe that I've heated up. The same PVC pipe that I used for my cuffs on my AOD and my AVID saws, in fact. The box section is actually a foam build, then coated with warbler, black warbler. I didn't have to paint it, it was all good to go. I do, however, have the ribbon cable, the toggle switch over here, and the clasp release, whatever you want to call it, I don't know, which were all bought from New Zealand hardware stores and electronic shops, which is the only shops that we have in New Zealand that sell these things. And as this prop was made in New Zealand, I worked out that by coincidence I happened to get screen accurate parts. So that was quite neat. If we move on to the, I'm not so sure about the latch. I think the one that they used is no longer in production here, so I found an alternative and put two different ones together. I could be wrong, that could entirely be what they did as well. I'm not sure. But I did that, I found an alternate torch and I had to strip the paint off of that. It does work, it's just a push button one. We've got the springs, we've got wires going in, we've got the cable piece, which I actually took off of a controller charger of all things for my PS4. The fingertips, I've actually opted to use extra 3D printed chains from doing my chainsaws, just for that detail, with foam on top for the bits of what I assume to be metal on the knuckles and whatnot. Got a proper clamp going around here as well, and of course everything disconnects at the wrist. It's a great piece, goes well with my AVID saw, I love it. Now the last thing that I have on display here is of course my diorama of my Evil Dead figures that I made. Nice little display going from Evil Dead 1 to Evil Dead 2 to Army of Darkness to Ash vs Evil Dead. Now Evil Ash is squeezed in at the very end from Army of Darkness, just because that was where I could put him at the time. I haven't gotten around to sorting out the full display just yet. There's a couple of customs in there. I made a Kelly and a Bowl from Ash vs Evil Dead. I even did a custom sculpted head for a Evil Dead 2 Ash using the Evil Dead 1 normal face Ash, and then sculpting the hair on top and then making a mould and doing a resin cast and painting it up, and it looks great. I'm happy with it. It was just to replace the face as I don't think it worked for that one. It definitely worked for the Evil Dead 2 Ash that has the possessed hand currently posed in the front there. Works for that, but I think that's the only thing that head actually works for. But great collection. I built the diorama of the cabin interior myself, just out of boredom. The power glove in all its glory, and the diorama of figures there. Step back, you can also see my Doctor Who figure collection, which is my other thing that I obsess over. As you saw, I was wearing a Dalek themed t-shirt. Another little bit of my Doctor Who figure collection, we have my two TARDIS interiors. So we have a customised 9th and 10th Doctor's TARDIS, which does light up and have sound effects. I've also added in extra lights just on the floor. So if I go flip on those extra lights first, it's a little bit of a finicky connection, but they are just Christmas lights, so they do blink out as well. But I think the batteries, yep, there we go. There we go. And if I just get in here, we have the hum and the green lights in the console. Of course, the time rider moves up and down when you press the buttons. I love this little piece. So good. Now if I just flip the switch back, and flip that one off. Now, change the floor on it as well. I've done a whole bunch of editing for the walls. Everything's been modified in this just to look as good as it does. Now I have the 11th Doctor's first console as well. Unfortunately I haven't done anything with it just yet, but I hope to someday. It's a good piece. It's a shame it has no electronics. And lastly we have the Doctor Who DVDs and Blu-rays and my sonic screwdriver props. So we've got dating all the way back to the first Doctor's era. Machine that goes dang up the top there. We've got the second Doctor's sonic screwdriver, sort of. We've got the third Doctor's, the fourth and fifths. We've got the seventh, then the War Doctor's, and then the 9th and 10th Doctor's toy, but there's no electronics in that one because I borrowed them for a restoration project, which unfortunately didn't quite go to plan. But that was for this Sonic here in the middle, which does light up, it just doesn't have any sound effects, as the sound, the speaker burnt itself out, unfortunately. We have a resin copy destroyed Sonic that I did myself as well, whilst I was doing that restoration project. We have The Wand Company 10th Doctor's Sonic there, which is what was used for moulding purposes. We also have the laser screwdriver from the Master in Season 3. We have the River Song screwdriver, and we have the 11th Doctor's and 12th Doctor's first sonic screwdriver. These two being universal remote controls, which is awesome. Down here we have the 12th and the 13th Doctor's sonic screwdrivers, and just in the corner there the recently released 14th Doctor's online exclusive sonic screwdriver. Hiding at the top above the other non-Doctor Who related Blu-rays there we have Jack Harkness' squareness gun, and in the tin there is a vortex manipulator made by Rubbertoe Replicas, who are the prop maker for Doctor Who. So I'm quite happy to own that. Yeah, I've got a good collection of the series and different props from it and everything. I love it to bits. It's been a part of my life since 2005, so gotta love it. Alrighty guys, so here's a little bonus for you. This is King Seat Asylum, which houses spookers, asylum paintball, and Weckerwood furniture making. But not only that, as I said, it is Karaka Asylum. It was, in fact, the asylum used for Season 2 of Ash vs. Evil Dead, and you will recognise the main part of that front building there as the design of the asylum that we see. However, it is heavily edited in the show, digitally, but that is the building. Alrighty guys, so that's everything in my collection pertaining to Evil Dead. I want to thank you all for checking out my little collection of things, and back to you, Brett.
Oh, you're back. Now I'm still trying to figure out the journal and the whole book situation, but you want to know what's going to happen in the next video. Well, we're going to take a little break from the recipe series because I'm getting a special care package in from the one and only legendary Tom Sullivan. And I will do an unboxing here on that and what he sends me. And also, Ronin Inc.'s first ever Knights of Samaria real knight sword. I will display that at the same time I do the video for Tom Sullivan's unboxing of what he sends me. So stay tuned for that and for the rest of the Rest in Peace series, Season 2. Until next time, God bless you guys, and always stay groovy.